collaboration isn't just about having a few nice ideas. It's about being resilient together, supporting each other. My experience of hosting these type of things started during the pandemic, when in the UK we were in lockdown. We actually had two pretty major lockdowns. And so keeping people together in the fitness industry was a challenge, but we did it. We did it well. And so I'm delighted to have some fabulous guests with us today, and I'm sure you'll all enjoy listening to the stories and listening to the work that they're doing to support other businesses. I also want to just introduce you all to Lauren. Lauren co-hosts some of the events with me, and she's going to be looking after the chat. She's the young, energetic one, and I'm the old, experienced one. And Lauren is brilliant at interaction, all that kind of thing. So I'd love it if you all introduce yourselves in the chat, and if you've any questions, etc., then Lauren will filter them and hopefully ask a couple on your behalf. We're trying to keep it tight because of time, because I know you're all extremely busy people, but I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to introduce you now to our guests. So firstly, Anam is with us, and Anam's story is brilliant. I mean, we had a chat over the weekend, and it was fascinating to learn about her and Wadji's business setting up from their apartment and now being global. And you probably all know Squatwolf, but the story itself is for another time, I presume, really, to be honest. But Anam and Wadj have a real ethos around the pack and supporting each other, supporting small businesses. Anam described them to me as young businesses and you know, those that are looking for opportunities to grow local businesses. And so, Anam, I'm going to start by asking you my first question, if that's okay. Let's be honest, you're seen as a big name now, aren't you? You know, Squatwolf is big. I follow you on Insta and some of the stuff you're doing. I can see the collaborative stuff that you're doing. How do you, during these difficult times, how do you keep that startup spirit positive? You know, how are you helping other businesses?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Anam Khalid. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Squatwolf. Just a bit of a background about Squatwolf before we talk about the supporting local initiative. So Squatwolf is a performance wear brand started from Dubai in 2016. So this is our 10th year anniversary this year. So we have been around for some time. We are the first performance wear brand, or you can say when we started, we were the first brand that were operating in athleisure, you can say, or activewear industry. So we were the first ones who started from Dubai, from Middle East, in fact, GCC. And we have been through that journey where, you know, you are craving for that one opportunity which will bring visibility to you. And we completely understand what's happening right now. We have been through that COVID period where things were very uncertain and very difficult for small businesses. And we were the lucky ones who got the opportunity when we came out of the COVID lockdowns. We were approached by multi-brand retailers, and FitRepublik was also one of those gyms where we got the visibility. We partnered, and we displayed our product. That was the first ever retail experience that we had as part of our journey. So we really, really appreciate all those opportunities that were in front of us, and that we were craving for at the time, because when you are young, you have very few opportunities. And this is the kind of, this time is reminding all of us, the same time as COVID, as you said in the beginning of the conversation, that when this regional conflict started, first thing people started doing was not spending. or spending very carefully. So one example that I think everyone can relate to, we have a store in Dubai Mall, and the traffic of Dubai Mall went down by 60% during few of those days where the conflict was at its peak. So that's difficult. That's really tough time because you have to still manage all your expenses. You have to pay your team. You have to pay the rentals. You have to manage all the expenses, but the revenue has gone down significantly. So we came up with this idea internally that why don't we talk about supporting homegrown brands and local brands and try to create that sentiment and that understanding that the global brands will survive. This conflict is regional. It's not happening to the rest of the world. So those businesses are not going to be affected as much as the local businesses are going to be affected. And we decided to open all the platforms. So social media, we have a significant following. Our website, we do get good visitors per day. And then the stores. So we have 3 stores in Dubai and then other stores in other GCC countries. We decided to open all the doors for the young businesses to basically display their product, even sell products through the stores, have the visibility on the homepage of squatwolf.com, and then the founders platform. So tomorrow we are actually meeting one of the founders and interviewing them to understand how has it been, and the response has been incredible. I mean, people are so happy, and we are positioning it more like a collaboration. So we are working with a Pilates studio this weekend and a healthy cafe in Abu Dhabi this weekend as well, where we are hosting a run and then Pilates class for about classes actually for half a day, where we will be promoting them through our channels. People will be booking and we'll get a lot of visibility. So we are also activating physically in our stores to sell products and then visibility on social media and on our platforms, online platforms as well.
Brilliant. Sorry, I have to ask you this, Anam. Are you both very creative? Because you come up with some brilliant ideas. Are you both creative people?
So Vaj and I, just for everyone to know, we are both husband and wife. And first thing we did after getting married was starting Squatwolf. So that's our baby. And no, I don't think we are creative people. I do head marketing as a function, brand marketing. So maybe it's that, but I think it's all coming from the DNA of the brand or the values that we have as founders.
Mm.
We genuinely believe that in tough times, if we can like support people, if we can support businesses in some way, one way or the other, it's going to come back to us as well. So it's the collective benefit, because if we are able to create this understanding for the local audiences that in these times and tough times, and generally as well when we are out of these tough times, focus on try to support homegrown, give that the share of your pocket to homegrown. So be mindful when you're spending. It
Yeah.
is going to eventually also help us. So it's creating that collective awareness for supporting local businesses, which I think is equally beneficial for us for the entire ecosystem.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Anam. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you soon. Hala, so many of you'll know Hala is the CEO of FitRepublik and StudioRepublik, but also I would say that Hala's very modest. From our conversation on Friday, I realised that when I mentioned Dubai Chambers and the strategic work that Hala's involved with, you were very humble, I think, about that, Hala. And in fact, I got to experience what you're all experiencing, sort of, because during our call, Hala was interrupted by an alert, and suddenly she'd gone, and I was emailing that, are you okay, kind of thing. But we got back on to the call. Hala's well known for a focus on people, and that no matter what size your brand is, you should be particularly in difficult times thinking about people. But I get the feeling, Hala, that's your ethos anyway. If I could start with a question for you, Hala, you have such large operations with FitRepublik and StudioRepublik. How do you scale that? Just because you're doing lots of stuff to support local businesses, aren't you? How do you scale that to help people who are finding it difficult at the moment?
Thank you for the question and for having me on this panel. Um, Honestly, for us, it was quite simple. Despite our size, FitRepublik and StudioRepublik are considered SMEs. So we understand the pressure because we've lived it ourselves. And we were born here in the UAE, just like Squatwolf. So there's also a responsibility that we feel to do what we can to make sure other businesses continue to thrive in this beautiful country that's given us so much. Um, so when things started to get tough, it was a simple question. How can we help? What could we do that would actually matter or would create the impact? So what we started last month, we created a simple call out. We said, don't close your doors, we'll open ours. So it was an invitation to SMEs. And what we've been doing is, and we're already now on our third round of pop-ups. So we invite businesses, 3 or 4 at a time, for 3 days into our space, right at the entrance of FitRepublik, so front and center, so that they could showcase what they do to our community. Because we're blessed. We have been fortunate that we continue to have strong footfall. We continue to have members showing up and sticking to their routine. So all we did was share that audience at no cost. So we're not charging these vendors anything. We just want them to show up and showcase all the brilliant stuff that they're working on. Beyond that, we've also been working with operators who've been disrupted, those that run junior programs, so programs that are for children, giving them access to our facility so that they can continue to keep their classes going. Because for me, this collaboration goes beyond business. If a coach can't run a class, then a child feels it. He or she loses that continuity, that routine, that sense of normalcy. And we don't want that to be the case. So we didn't overcomplicate it. I don't want to tell you we've done something exorbitant. What we did is make a decision and we opened our doors.
Wow, you make it sound really simple, to be honest, Hala. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. I love your take on the children as well, because certainly here in the UK, I genuinely feel, I'm sure lots of people would agree, that we're now seeing the impact of the pandemic on children as they enter their teens and later teens. So for you to have that in mind, I think is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, I'll come back to you with more questions, Hala. Thank you so much. And thanks for being with us. Next, I want to introduce you all to Ryan, who's from Jumeirah John's Running Club. Hello, Ryan. Good to see you.
Hello.
Thank you
Good
so
to see
much.
you.
I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing, and I think you've got this whole thing about the local legends. Your social media is amazing. There's so much going on. You clearly, but am I right, Ryan, that you started this as a hobby initially?
Yeah, so me and Angus, who's the other co-founder of Jumeirah Johns, we both grew up together in the UAE, so this is sort of home for us.
Yeah.
And we're both getting into running sort of in our own right. And I just moved back to the UAE, and we realized that there wasn't really a space for our sort of demographic age to go out there and run with no pressure. It was more high performance coaches, etc. So both of us have full-time jobs outside of Jumeirah Johns. So we really set up Jumeirah Johns as a community-based run club, where we want to make sure that anyone can sort of join, and we break down the barrier to entry into running. So whether people want to come and have a run down the beach, or they want to go for a walk, rollerblade, skateboard, whatever it may be, they can feel that they can come down to a friendly face or faces. And especially in Dubai, where the environment's fairly transient, we're going to see it now with the current situation. A lot of people have obviously left, and Dubai will bounce back. A lot of people will come back, or new people will come in the future. So we want to be there to get them down, help them make friends, and get more involved in sort of the active lifestyle. When I started running, I couldn't do a 5K, and then it progressively got better and better over time. And then I was lucky enough through New Balance last year to run the New York Marathon. And what we try to do is try to get others, give them the opportunity to be able to get there in the future. So last year we did a running trip to Prague where we had around 26 runners take part in the Prague Marathon. And then this year we're running one in Vienna through New Balance again. Last year we sent 5 people to Valencia Marathon. And these are all people who have never run a marathon in their life. So it's definitely a big opportunity for them, which I think every single one of them that has been with us has taken with a lot of appreciation, and very thankful for the opportunity we've given them. But going back to the Run Club, the whole ethos is essentially the community. So that's where the local legends comes in, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But we just want to look after one another, and also, again, support the businesses that, again, locally run, are here day in, day out through the good times that may be struggling now.
Yeah, I love that, Ryan. When did you and Angus, at what point did you think there's more to what we're doing than greatest respect, you're getting people into marathons, and your story itself is quite inspirational. But when did you think, we could be doing stuff for some of the businesses that we know?
So in terms of the Run Club grew massively in the summer of 23, we saw a massive increase. And that's where we went from sort of just being a run club to actually incorporating into a business. And then from there, we sort of thought, well, when we were children growing up, where did we used to hang out? For example, the Single Fin Cafe Surf House, it's been around a long time. We've been there when we were kids. So we were like, well, let's pay back to them, bring them in business on a Friday morning. And again, it does work out really well because they're 2 minutes walk from where we usually start from on a Friday. But it's quite nice to sort of pay back to them for the good times they gave us when we were growing up.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ryan. I will come back to you about the legends, but thank you. Anam, building a brand, building it from your apartment, has its own challenges, particularly in relation to scale, etc. How do you collaborate with other businesses, but also how did they collaborate with you initially when you were starting out?
So for us, when we started out, I think one of the biggest reasons for how we became a brand we are today was the community. So we started working with our friends. So people who were personal trainers in gyms like FitRepublik, gyms around our area where we were living. And those PTs basically became our models. We were shooting products on them. And they were on our ads, they were on our social media. So it just created that authenticity for the brand that, when people were seeing the ads and it's the PT who is in the gym that they're training, they're like, oh, I know this guy. I've been training with this person. So it just creates that relevance, and they were very welcoming because we were the first brand. So it also, the story I think resonated with them. Whenever we asked anyone, would you like to support us? And the answer was always a yes. So we worked with them, and that community basically made who we are today. So this was the initial idea. And then once the COVID lockdown was over, we were so visible and seen that the multi-brand retailers, basically likes of Go Sports, they reached out to us and they wanted to have Squatwolf in their stores. And it all happened because of that visibility that was created during that lockdown period through our personal trainers and friends in the community. So the power of community is just so incredible that we started receiving inbound leads and calls that, and then of course it became a commercial engine. And from there, our B2B business started to grow to a scale that, it's incredible today. So yeah, it all started with community and working with personal trainers, basically.
That's amazing. And are they still with you? Are they still ambassadors and working on behalf of Squatwolf?
Yeah, still. And there's so many of them who have been there for years. Like the other day, in fact, the first ever campaign that we shot, his name is Justin. He's a South African personal trainer. He used to work in FitRepublik. Hala is nodding. And he was here in the office the other day with his family, with his wife and a baby, to just to see us. He has his own business now, so he's not a PT anymore. But he shot in our living room. So we used to transform our living room to a studio, shoot studio. And his mom would come as the person who would do the makeup and hair and everything. So very humble beginnings, and all credit goes to the community who supported us.
Yeah. So you're giving back, really, aren't you? That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have lived through all of this in a different time, and the ecosystem for starters wasn't that mature that it is right now. And so overall, there were very, very few startups at the time. And I'm talking about from 26 to 2020. There were very, very few businesses, especially when you look at the fitness space. There was zero apparel businesses. There was nothing. And then it was gyms, of course. There were studios and workout basically focused businesses, but there wasn't anything else. So healthy restaurants were not that big of an industry at the time. Healthy food, in fact, like hydration didn't exist at the time. Now they're like very well-known businesses in the hydration space.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. And one of the reasons why we were able to also get a lot of visibility was through Dubai Active. So Dubai Active was called at the time the Dubai Muscle Show. And they started the same year we started, and we started exhibiting from year 2017. And from there on, because they were growing and they were bringing in a very relevant audience to our target audience, it's just gave us a very good, very strong platform to again then reach the right audiences. So again, this is all the magic of community, all the magic of supporting each other, and consistently we exhibited at Dubai Active. And then we are still present. We don't exhibit anymore, but we do show up through competitions and through our sponsored functional fitness competitions that are taking place during Dubai Active.
Brilliant. Thank you, Anam. Thank you. Hala, back to you. So, sorry, I do apologise, but I am looking at my notes because I've got that many, as I've been learning about all of our guests. Hala, in particular, with you as a CEO, how do larger wellness hubs like yours work with other other people that are doing the great work, such as Ryan's Run Club, for example? How do you make that happen?
Listen, I think what the Jumeirah Johns are doing is something incredibly important. They are close to the ground. They understand the reality of what small businesses are going through, and they've built trust within that community and their community.
Yeah.
And that's not something you can manufacture. That is an authentic relationship. So kudos to them. So for me, the starting point would be is respect. As larger operators, we shouldn't be trying to replicate what they're doing. We should be asking, how can we support it? So that practically means we need to find ways in which we can add value without owning that relationship. Because the goal should not be about being seen. It's about how we can be useful. At the same time, we have to recognize that, and as you very well know, human beings are multifaceted. They are not linear. They don't rely just on one space. They move from different environments depending on the need that they're going through. So the more we support a diverse ecosystem of operators that offer a variety of experiences, the more we create real choices for people. I mean, that's our tagline in FitRepublik, power to the people, you know. The people should have the choice on what they want to engage in. And that ultimately is what will strengthen the industry as a whole. Each one of us plays a role. And when each of us focuses on delivering well in that role and supporting each other to do the same, everybody wins.
You made me think there as well, you know, Hala, that I wonder in the UK, I'm reflecting on what you said there, and I just wonder whether we do enough. We talk about collaboration, but we don't really do much of it, to be quite honest. I think fitness here has become very serious and probably a little bit too competitive. And you're all of our guests today, you're all doing things collaboratively and helping and supporting each other, which is admirable, to be quite honest. It really is. And listening to you all speak, I feel like we should do this again, but for UK guests, so they can hear, you know, how collaboration truly can work. So thank you, Hala, for that. Ryan, tell everyone about the local legends, because am I right to think that you all turn up at somebody's business? You know, I'm imagining myself in a little cookie shop and then you all arrive, 300 of you. Is that right? Or am I being a bit over?
It's exactly that. It's as simple as basically us reaching out to our community and members and asking them to nominate their local legends, preferably homegrown UAE-based companies that potentially need help at this moment in time. And then we obviously speak with them, make sure that they're happy for us to organize a run from their location. So we did volume 1 last week at the Moon and Back coffee shop. We tailored the session to work around that area, and yeah, essentially we turned up, we all went off for a run together, and then we met back up there and all had a coffee and a pastry. We're quite lucky that New Balance are helping us with this partnership and initiative, and they're actually funding a lot of the let's say it's the person has to pay for their coffee and then New Balance will pay for the pastry on the side. So it's really nice to see these companies and small businesses getting back from the community and actually being able to earn a decent amount of money per sort of run that we do for them.
But how many of you turn up, Ryan?
I think last Wednesday we had around 100.
Yeah, I just think it's brilliant. I really do. I'm sorry. I just think it's fantastic that if you are the owner of that business and suddenly you see all these people, it's incredible, isn't it? How did the New Balance thing come about?
We've been lucky enough to have a partnership with New Balance for about 1.5 years now. So we're doing different events with them throughout the year. They're sort of a partner on the Run Club supporting the run leaders. So essentially the Run Club is completely volunteer-led. There's 13 of us in total. So me and Angus obviously lead it. And then we have 11 under us that help take our runs throughout the week. And we all come together once a month just to discuss sort of not issues, but things we can do better and things that we think that the people of the community would like to see. So obviously it's volunteer-led, but for us to be able to give back to our run leaders, it's bringing New Balance on board's really sort of allowed us to do that, where we can offer our run leaders merchandise and various other things through them.
It's incredible. It's brilliant work, Ryan. And again, the fact that you hadn't done a 5K before is just brilliant. It's brilliant.
Right.
Thank you so much. I will come back to you again.
Sure.
And let's talk about influencing others, because you're. It's clear just listening to you that the work that you're both doing is incredible. How are you using your influence to give a sense of stability? How are you helping people? Because, there's a lot of uncertainty. When we came on the call this morning, Gavin obviously was on early and we were talking, and he said there's a ceasefire. But it's a 2-week one. So that's still uncertain, isn't it? How do you use your influence to create stability for people?
So one thing that we have been doing consistently is be a good example. So me and Waj, I think we are also lucky to have personalities where we are very predictable and stable as leaders. So we are very active as founders and co-CEOs. We are first ones to arrive to the office, and probably the last of the day, which is probably not a good day. But we are there always. So we are present, and we are present in a way that people look at us and they see hope, they see positivity, and they see that we always encourage and talk about what is in our control and what is within the circle of influence for us. What can we control in this time? Because everything that is out of our control, we cannot influence those. We cannot change those things. We cannot stop the war. We cannot do anything about it. However, what we can do is, how can we quickly diversify our revenue from GCC to maybe outside the GCC? We already have some established countries. How do we double down on those? How do we make sure that from logistics perspective, there is a lot of uncertainty? What are the other options? Plan B, plan C. We have warehouse in Saudi. We also have a warehouse in Hong Kong. We were planning to open our warehouse in the UK, in London. How can we accelerate it? So the things that are within our control, what can we do about those? And that becomes, I think, the biggest mindset shift in these times of uncertainty, what you can control. So, and the same thing, we are talking about this on our social platforms as well, because there are a lot of founders that follow us and young entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. And this is what we have been talking about, that if you will feel like that you're not in the driving seat and you're focusing everything that is out of your control, it will be very, very hard. You will be depressed. But when you take charge and when you see the things that are totally under your control and push really hard and stay busy, don't just sit there and think about everything that's going wrong, but take action and really push through in the areas where you can. And that's so helpful. Everyone in the office at least is supercharged. Everyone is showing up literally from day 3 since it started. Our office is full. And we never asked them to come to the office. It was just, we were showing up and we were staying strong, and people started showing up themselves. It's self-initiative purely. And I was so happy to see that, everyone is a fighter and everyone is focusing on the right things rather than going under depression. And everyone is here. We have more than 50% of our team members who are not from here, who are mostly Europeans. They are all here. None of them left.
Wow. I do love that message there about, controlling the things that you can control. It just makes so much sense. When you were talking then, Anam, I'm thinking it's a little bit like your own health, isn't it? You can control it. It's up to you what you do. There are certain things you can't control that happen, but in terms of good health, you're in charge, aren't you? And so I love the way you talk about that, particularly the London thing. There's the message I got there was there are certain things that nothing can stop you because you can still deal with those particular developments in your business. And then, brilliant. Thank you so much. Hala, you're a mentor to people, and you've you're a business leader, you're a mentor. So how do you? Because I mentioned it earlier, I touched on it earlier with you that I fear. No, I don't have the experience to comment on what it's like in the Middle East, but I sense that collaboration, we could do it better. We could be a lot better. You're all shining examples of how to do it. But how do you, as a, if you like, an industry mentor, encourage people to be less competitive and more collaborative?
If you're talking about prioritizing the business, because at the end of the day, we are a business. We have commercial commitments, and balancing that with extending yourself to the larger community as the situation is unfolding right now. I mean, Anand and Squatwolf is a great example of that. It starts by realizing you don't have to choose one or the other. So you don't have to say either we're going to be profitable or we're going to be culturally strong and have some strong pillars that we stand behind. They're not mutually exclusive. Over time, I've realized something. Your culture is not what you say. It is what you allow. It is what you tolerate. It is what you repeat. And it's very important that you're clear on it because your team is always watching you. So as a leader, you have to start with yourself and you have to be very honest with yourself. I mean, are you creating a culture that is existing in silo, that is only rewarding outcomes? Or are you creating a space for people? Are you recognizing and rewarding their effort, their behavior, their collaboration? So it's important, and I tell this to my team all the time. I say you have to reward the behavior you want to see. So your culture has to be alive in everything that you do. You can be commercially strong and successful, and at the same time have a culture that is human, because at the end of the day, we need each other. We can compete with each other, but we can also cheer for each other because I'm sure everybody wants to win because they're good at what they do, not because they're the only ones in that lane. The strongest businesses are the ones that manage both, because the business will continue. Businesses evolve. The situation we are in will also subside, hopefully sooner than later. But how people felt when they were working with you, the values that you lived, the actions that you took, those are the things that will stay with your team, that will create a culture that you will pass on to your team and that they will also execute in every interaction they have with their clients, their suppliers, their partners.
Yeah, it's very much down to how you make people feel, isn't it, Hala? That's what, I'm sure you'd agree with me, that's what people remember.
100%.
They just remember
100%.
you can have the glitziest facilities, etc. But as a leader, it's how you make people feel that really makes an impact.
100%. And they will feel better when they feel that they have a voice, when they are supported, when their opinion matters, when it's not an us and them, You're the workers and then the management sits in a different space. It has to be that kind of collaboration because they drive the real impact. Yeah. So if they don't feel like they're being heard or supported, then they're not happy and they're not proud. And we all want to work for a space that we're proud of. They want to invite their friends and their family and say, this is where I work. This is where I belong.
Yeah, because they'll stay, won't they?
100%.
That's how they feel. Yeah.
Or they'll grow, but they'll always remember you well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hala. Ryan, there'll be lots of people watching today who could probably help their own neighborhoods. So you've gone on this journey almost as part, of your own you're a legend yourself, I suppose, aren't you, in the way that your business has developed. What have you learned that you could teach other people about engaging with communities?
So first of all, going back to what Hala said earlier, respect is very, very important, and also sort of the community that we're in. We're inside the United Arab Emirates, and obviously there's specific laws. So be respectful to those laws. Where we run is completely public space. So we try and drill this into everyone that comes, that we need to respect everyone around us and what we do. And going on to respect even further, people are going to feel completely different in terms of the current situation. So you need to respect how they feel. It might be completely different to you. So you need to pull out of your mindset, be open and connect with others and try and understand how they're doing. There's no one right way of how you should feel in a situation like this. It's completely out of the ordinary. None of us have really been through it before. I'll be honest, at the start, I wasn't in the UAE, but Angus was, and I was a bit concerned, whereas he seemed to think that everything was fine. But I sort of viewed my points to him, and he understood that that's maybe why I was feeling the way I was. But it took him to actually listen to what I was saying. So I would definitely say, for anyone that's trying to help out within your own sort of neighborhood and even your own team, maybe at work, sports team, whatever it may be there to listen to them and listen to what they have to say. Again, your view might be completely different. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's also nice to get out and about in these uncertain times, getting away from the sort of news that maybe you're watching at home. So invite your friends out, pull them out for a walk, whether it's at the shopping mall, take them play a game of, I don't know, paddle tennis, any sort of activity that will take their mind off what's going on. If you sit there in front of the screen watching the news all day, every day, it's going to put you in a very negative mind space. So yeah, in terms of bringing help to the neighborhoods, that's all I'd say. We're together as a community. Be respectful to each and every one, whether you know them well or whether you don't know them at all, and listen to each other, talk to each other. It's completely fine for you to not feel, let's say, safe in the current circumstance, and it's completely fine to feel like that. But also voice that, tell them how you're feeling, because then they can suggest their sort of thoughts. You might agree with it, you might not, but as a team together, it's a lot easier to overcome the sort of situation we're facing than just being on your own and hiding from the rest of the community.
Yeah, you made a really good point. Well, numerous points, but Ryan, that part about when you're actually out running, you could run past somebody that is really stressed about the whole thing, uncertainty and panic, and you have to respect that, don't you? You have to be mindful of other people's feelings at this time.
100%. It's just all about just being respectful, coming together as a team, and just listening to other people's points. And even if you don't agree with them, just listen.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Right, I'm going to go to Lauren to see if there are any questions, Lauren, that you would like to put to the panel on behalf of everybody that's here.
Yeah, I think we had one around kind of building a community, but I do think that's kind of been covered off. And Ryan, even then, you've done a great job of giving some great advice. So in terms of what else we have, I would like to get an opinion about the use of AI, benefits, threats, outlook, and general thoughts. Would anyone like to pick up on the AI question?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a curveball.
I
Anyone
can talk
using
about it.
Yeah, please do, Anam. Thank you.
Yeah. So what we are doing with AI, we are really pushing the button on the use of AI, because I don't think this is something that anyone can avoid anymore. So the quicker we embrace it, the more beneficial we are going to be compared to everyone else who's still trying to resist. So we are really accelerating the use of AI. So tomorrow is actually a town hall company-wide where we have announced already the approved AI platforms that we are going to use, the enterprise platforms. We don't have our LLM yet, but this is going forward. Hopefully, we will be using our own LLM. So we are becoming a really AI first as an organization. That's the idea, that's the intention. Everyone has the business access to the AI platform. We are using Claude Enterprise. In terms of the risks, yes, there are definitely risks associated, and that's why we are doing it with the proper policy. The town hall is there. There will be training sessions that are being conducted for different use cases. So we are creating awareness in the organization that you cannot use your personal accounts or free versions to upload any company data, any customer data, any employee-related personal data, any investment related information that you have, or litigations, or anything that's really confidential company information cannot be uploaded on free versions or personal accounts. So we have a company-wide enterprise model that we are all using, and we are really creating that awareness and education in the organization how to use AI for your benefit. So the merchandisers or buyers or the planning team, because we deal with a lot of inventory, all of their work, the work that they would take a week to finish, they are doing in hours because of the availability of the platform and creating that awareness and creating opportunities for them to learn. There are a few super users. So in the brand marketing function, we have one team member who is really strong at using like 6 platforms to the generative AI models to create content. Of course, we are a performance-aware brand. We cannot use everything on AI, but for example, adaptations. So adaptations of, for example, when you have shot on a model, but then you want a flat lay image, for example, for an ad, or you want a 3D of the same product, but you have shot only in a picture format. So, or taking a photo, converting into a video. So all of those things, and this is just one example, in all the different parts of the business, we are hosting those sessions to create awareness, tell them about the risks, educate them, and then give them the platform to basically do their jobs better. And this is all with the message that we don't want AI to take away your jobs. So if you're the one who is going to resist AI, unfortunately, you will be the one who will lose the job first. So get yourself equipped and be that driver so we can do the same thing. So we are a growing business, we are scaling. We will be able to do the much more work, or be ready for the scaling that is required, but with the same number of people. So we don't have to hire more people when we are opening stores in London and New York, and really going big in B2B or e-commerce business. We don't have to hire more people. The same number of people can do the job of 10 people with AI.
Why did you
I'd like to add something about AI just quickly. At the Republics, in StudioRepublik specifically, we launched an AI agent. I mean, we were doing a lot of things in AI. Sometimes I say we're a tech company disguised as a fitness company, because even the regular software we use is a white label we've been developing for the last 8 years. But we launched an AI agent to take care of kind of the general questions our clients might have. We gave him a name. His name is Zain, and he's done such a brilliant job that quite often people will come to reception and say, "Can we please speak to Zain? I'd like to meet Zain. Can I say hi to Zain?" And the risk is, once Zain went a little bit too zealous, and at one stage we had somebody come to reception and say, "I have the contract. It's ready to sign." And we said, "What contract?" Said, "Well, I agreed with Zain that you guys are going to run these workshops over a month, so we're just here to finalize the details." So that was a bit of an awkward situation, which was a bug in the system, which we dealt with. But I mean, AI is everywhere, but we're being smart on how to use it, how to optimize the business. 100%.
Yeah, it's good advice from both of you. Thank you, because I myself actually have started to use AI in almost as a work assistant, as an employee, I suppose. And if you use it properly and teach it. I've taught AI. I use Gemini at the moment, and I've taught it all about my business, about my ethos and my approach to things, so that and I have to correct it quite regularly. but we're getting there. And to me, it's just like inducting a member of staff. You know, it's teaching them to support what you're trying to do, I think. So, yeah, thank you so much. Lauren, any other questions?
Yes, we have got 2 more questions, if that's okay. I'll try and keep them quick. So we've got a question for Hala, Anam and Ryan. How can we effectively provide remote support to engage people, foster collaboration and a shared cause, and build strong communities? So that's more from the remote angle. It says, our aim is to expand this beyond a specific region and make it truly global. And they'd appreciate any kind of guidance or kind of structure or any ideas that you've got around that.
I think Graham is the one that should answer this question.
Yeah. Ask me the question again, please, Lauren.
Yeah, I guess because we're all virtual right now, aren't we? How can we effectively provide remote support to engage everyone, foster collaboration around a shared cause, and build strong communities?
Well, I think that's what we're doing today, isn't it? Thank you, Hala, because you know, I did sort of think, but if you're looking to do it yourself, I would, you know, for businesses within your area, I got the impression there was perhaps a lean towards taking it broader than your area, but I think, you know, I think it's you've got to be prepared to put the work in. The first thing is I started the virtual club last summer, but I've been doing versions of it. So I do in-person events. And in fact, Gavin and I have been talking for a few months about me doing an in-person event in June in Dubai. And yet, obviously, the situation's difficult. So we decided to do this instead. You have to be patient. You have to put the work in. You have to find a common theme. And I think that's what today has been about, collaboration. And certainly it's my plan to repeat the Virtual Club Middle East on Wednesday, the 6th of May. So, you know, we'll definitely be back talking, and the topic might be slightly different, or we might catch up and see how the wider group here today is working collaboratively. But yeah, I just think if you know, it's like anything. If you're starting a business, which is really what you're talking about, you just got to put the hours in, and you've got to find people that you know it resonates with. And don't ask your friends, because they'll always tell you your business ideas are good. Ask people that normally will tell you the truth. People come to me and ask for, you know, what do you think of this? Go back to the drawing board. But yeah, I would certainly be very committed. If you're going to do it properly, I would say.
Thank you, Graham. Okay, then everyone, last question. We've got, following on Hala's talk about balancing between the commercial commitments and the humanity. In fact, there are some examples of businesses ignoring the humanity side, and they are doing very well in the market and getting good results. The question is, does any business leader think how to balance between both sides, or the main points he or she must think about kind of versus the results?
I mean, if I can chime in here, again, I don't think you need to, they don't exist, you know, it's not one or the other. You can be a company that stands for its community, that stands for doing what is right. And being in the UAE, I think we're cheating a little bit, because we live in a country that's always kind of embedded that in us, you know, the sense of community, the safety, the neighborhood. It's all there. So we're just replicating within our own ecosystem what we see outside. That doesn't mean that other companies are all bound to this value system. Each company to its own value system. But if you're asking me, do you have to choose whether you are profitable or whether you are engaging with your community and doing what's right, no, you don't have to choose. And I'm an example, and the other speakers on this panel are also example that you don't have to choose. You know, they're also doing brilliantly well. And in fact, it is also, I mean, it's good karma, you know. You do well, you pay it forward, it will come back to you. I mean, in retail, for example, it's always been FitRepublik's stand to go with mom and pop shops, you know, homegrown brands, you know, ladies and gentlemen that have this idea, that have this product, and they want to showcase it. And we've always done it from day one. And I'm extremely ecstatic to see the success that Squatwolf has seen, and onwards and upwards, inshallah. And so you don't have to decide. It's a decision, though, that has to be made by the leadership, but they can both coexist.
Yeah, absolutely. I will echo this exactly the same sentiment, because even before the crisis started, we always stood behind local homegrown businesses. So usually when the angle is commercial, a brand is always looking to partner with another brand that can bring them more visibility. However, our partnership strategy has always been, number one criteria is, are they homegrown? Are they making any difference? Are they supporting? Like, I think this is embedded in all of us, the businesses that are from Dubai or from UAE or from the Middle East. It's that homegrown sentiment is just there. So even before the crisis, we were doing exactly the same. We have just accelerated it and made it a bigger forum and opened all the doors that we had to give visibility. But we were doing the same thing before. So we are sponsoring Primal Race. Primal Race is a functional fitness competition, homegrown. So they are a competition to High Rocks, but they are Dubai startup. Same goes for, we are supporting a run club called Collective 365. They are a really good, really strong community. They are growing really fast. They also are on Height Reach, and we started working with them because they are from Dubai. So it has always been the case. It's just that we are now, I think, is the right forum and the right time to really accelerate the sentiment, because we need to create that awareness for the wider community, that these are the times you really think about your own, and not, you know, give your share of pocket to the global giants, but think about your own home and the brands that just grew up in your backyard.
Brilliant. I think that's a thank you, Lauren, and thank you to my guests, to Ryan, to Hala, to Anam. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope everybody's enjoyed it and found it useful. I think I can see there's been a lot of activity in the chat. Some people have had to jump off earlier. But thank you to my colleagues at Dubai Active, to Gavin and Sarah for collaborating with me to do this today. As I said, our next Virtual Club Middle East will be at the same time on Wednesday, the 6th of May.